Hey, what's going on guys? I'm Jay Cartere from growonyoutube.com, teaching you how to be better. And in this video, I'm going to be teaching you how to play smarter on defense in Rainbow Six Siege. I'm going to be sharing 3 tips to help you do that. First tip is use information to your advantage. This can include a multitude of factors. First up, we have cameras. Cameras are basically your tools for information. As you know, when you're playing on defense, you do not have access to drones, so cameras are basically the only way you can see the enemies without one of your team members physically seeing them. So you need to be using the cameras to your advantage to spot enemies, to see where they're coming from. Even if a camera is taken out in the early stages of the round, that is pretty good information, because at that point you know that your enemies are coming from the direction that camera got taken out in. So be aware of the cameras. Also use the map to know what direction people are coming in when you're on the camera, so that when you transition out of the camera, you know what direction that person is coming in if you didn't already mark them or something like that. Second thing you want to be doing is using callouts with your team members. Again, if you don't have good team members, then this may be completely useless to you. It might not work out. But anytime you do have team members that do communicate, and it is hard to find people who do that on PSN, so definitely join my Discord, as there are people who play Rainbow Six Siege in there, and I believe everyone pretty much has a mic in there, so you'll get good team members that you can do call outs with and stuff like that. But call outs is really important because it helps you spread information across your team without sharing information with the enemy team. And what I mean by that is, if you're using cameras to spot the enemy and you're not using callouts to tell the rest of your team where those enemies are, then you are communicating to that enemy that you have spotted them, and then they'll start looking for the camera, or not drone because they're on offense. They'll start looking for the camera and they'll probably take it out, and that is one camera down. That gives you less information. So generally callouts are the better option than, you know, just using the hold triangle down. Also, be sure to use your compass when you're trying to issue callouts, or when other people are issuing callouts to you, as that really helps communicate the location of your enemy, especially if you're not too familiar with the maps. So if you are seeing someone and you're in a specific room, it will generally tell you on the compass. So use that information to let everyone know where you are in relation to that enemy and what direction they're in, because that will help give more accurate callouts and actually communicate the information. Because there's nothing worse than a bad callout, because that can get you killed. Someone telling you someone's in, like, to the east of you when they're actually to the west of you, will probably get you killed. So try and avoid giving bad callouts and try to make sure that they're as quality as possible. Third thing that you can do is use sound to your advantage. You need to be wearing headphones. It's so important. It's so important to use headphones so that you can hear where the enemies are coming from and what activities they are engaging in. For example, rappelling or hitting a barricade, or, you know, moving through barbed wire or something like that. Or even on a drone, you can hear when people are on their drones, and that's a great opportunity to go in there and get a nice easy kill. So definitely use your headphones, use sound to your advantage. You also need to use the knowledge of operators, gadgets and weapons, so that you know when you are at a disadvantage and when you are actually at an advantage. For example, if Glaz is shooting at you from a long distance, you generally don't want to engage with him. It doesn't matter what other operator you are. I don't think anyone's pretty good at long range with Glaz, unless he's shooting in a completely different direction. Then you can, you know, get a shot on him. But if he's shooting at you, you generally don't want to engage in that fight. You want to, you know, reposition and move away from that. So knowing what your enemy has in their arsenal will help you counter that and be able to better respond to that, so that you can stop them making their push. Another thing that you can gain information from is the direction that drones are coming from. Generally, and it's not all the time, like if a drone comes from the west, generally the enemy that is using the drone is coming from the west. Now he may be in a completely different area, but if I see a drone coming from the west then I'm assuming that that attacker, if he sees that this room is clean and there's no one in there and he doesn't see you, he is most likely going to try and attack that objective or that room or that point through the same direction that he droned in through. So keep that in mind, and definitely, you know, note that down. If you see a drone coming in from the west, an attacker is probably going to be coming that way also, or there might be an attacker around the corner on his knee looking at his phone that you might be able to just give a quick shoot in the head and a teabag. The second tip is limit the information of your enemies. In order to do this, you can crouch. Crouching is one of the key things in this game that helps you limit the information of your enemies. I definitely suggest you crouch at any opportunity you have. You don't want to be running around the place because that really gives away your position, and it can lead to you being surprised by an enemy instead of you surprising an enemy, which is always worse. And you want to limit noise and be aware of the noise you're making. So you want to make sure that if you're hitting barricades or shooting a kill hole or anything like that, you're aware of where enemies are in relation to your position, because if you're doing it really close to them, then they're probably going to know what direction you're coming in from, and you're going to need to be a little more cautious. Also, you want to move if you get spotted. If a drone comes in and it sees where you are, you want to shoot that drone, get rid of it, and then relocate. You don't want to stay in the exact same position, because an attacker is likely going to come and pre-fire at where you just was. So you want to move preferably to somewhere that, you know, overlooks that position, although you can move wherever the hell you want, as long as you're not in the place where the attacker saw you. And shoot, as I said before, shoot drones if they spot you, but let them go if they don't see you. And you can fool the enemy team into thinking that the room is clear. And that is valuable. That is valuable because that is misinformation. And misinformation is really important, but it's more important for offense, and you don't really have a lot of opportunities for misinformation on defense side. So I'm not really going to get into that. But if you do think that you have a bunch of defensive misinformation opportunities and you think that I'm totally wrong in this opinion, be sure to leave a comment down below. But as I said, if you let a drone live and you don't get spotted by it, you can get an easy kill from an unsuspecting enemy who thinks he's going into a safe room. So if a drone does not spot you, don't get trigger happy. Don't shoot it if it's not a threat. If you do have a team member around the corner that it's probably going to spot, then fair enough, shoot it. But if you're in the room by yourself and the enemies don't know where you are, keep it that way. Third tip is let the enemy come to you and be patient. This is very, very, very important on defense. I see a lot of people rushing out and trying to get kills and trying to take out the attacking team. That is not your job on defense. Your job on defense is to defend the objective. That's all you really want to do. Make sure you never, ever, ever rush the last enemy. That is the worst thing that you can ever do. If there's one enemy on offense on the other team, then all you need to do is hunker down in the objective and, you know, wait for that enemy to come to you, because he has to come to you. Like, there's no other alternative for him. So don't make it easy for him. Don't go out and let your team get picked off one by one. Make sure that the enemy is coming to you. The round timer is on your side, so keep that in mind. Staying alive till the end of the round is just as, if not more, valuable than getting kills. So try and stay alive. Keep an eye on the time. If the time's at 30 seconds, then you're doing good. And yeah, just try and kill the clock. Try and kill the clock and try and stay alive. That is your job on defense. I hope this video helped you guys out. Be sure to join my Discord channel where you can play games with me and find other people to squad up in Rainbow Six with and more. The link is in the description. Thanks for watching and liking and subscribing, and I'll see you guys in the next video.
It's been a cold winter and it's lasted far too long. So all this warmth I share with you.